whether or not this is the next favorite thing in terms of entertainment, or just the next favorite thing. If there is a main character in the game, it is surely Ethan Mars. While the game shifts you around to various perspectives, his story is central and threads through just about every aspect of the game. Ethan is a loving father of two divorced James. The majority of the opening is spent establishing his devotion as a father and his love for his children. But tragically,
some games look better than this.
And the character takes a turn from then on. Ethan remains a loving father to Sean, but he is haunted by nightmares and blackouts.
I've heard like crazy good things about this game, and like some incredibly bad things, like, you know, different people have different takes on it, and some love it, some hate it. I don't even know if I would dig this. That's why I'm interested in this. Heavy Rain? It's like an interactive movie. It's basically exactly what he said.
From her first scene, I was of the opinion that taking on the character of Lauren would have been much more interesting than playing Madison Page, as I found Lauren to be a much more interesting person. But sadly, she is only a non-playable sidekick in the game. Sadly, we are stuck with Paige. The woman offers very little to the story or to the game, mainly taking up space as the female love interest for Ethan and throwing a few curveballs into the plot. Rarely will she do anything of real importance until the tail end of the game. Madison is a vacuum with a stock personality and supposed attitude, though that can only be determined by the motorcycle she drives and her wayward behavior of sleeping in various random hotels. In addition to the character problems, is the fact that she seems to be tacked on with a somewhat immature diversion and filler. Sometimes it feels as though the game designers are simply taking advantage of the fact that you get to control a girl. One wonders how much adolescent snickering went into the construction of some of these scenes. Then we have Norman Jason, who is an FBI profiler helping the feds and the police in attempting to solve a series of murders. Jaden is by far the character who exudes the most personality looking forward, with the occasional wisecrack and an entertaining observation here and there.
It came out of there.
With a cool virtual reality gadget, but you can only use it in certain confined portions of the game. And sadly, those limit you to using it to perform mundane tasks like sifting through the case information or occasionally changing the look of your office. Just imagine how cool it would have been if you could change your locale to will or play his wall and ball game yourself.
Check my weight.
Finally, we have Scott Sheldon.
I'm sure I lost. I'm all like that.
The guy who is not on your side for either getting into a scrape or
I'm
to
not
find
even
emotion.
snacking.
He is an instant target. All four characters are very in-depth and are very distinct in their own personality. But there is both a benefit and a drawback to them. While the game definitely gives you a rudimentary power of choice, there is no question that you are playing pre-written characters. And some of the decisions you are offered simply don't seem organic to their nature. At one point in the game, you have the choice with Scott Sheldon to either help Lauren or walk away. But I felt very pressing need to come to a rescue because I felt that's what the character would do. Clearly there are some issues here, and while the multiple choices can help vary and enhance the gameplay experience, it comes with the price of the character and story consistency. As characters in a movie, these four would have been a pretty standard range from poor to fun to pretty good. But as video game characters, a few different advantages crop up, as well as a few problems. One of the most interesting characters in the game is also one that goes unseen. The Origami Killer takes on a life of his own, as all four characters attempt to track him down and identify him in their own ways. The killer abducts exclusively young boys, only during the rainy season, after which their bodies are found several days later in a remote location. The boys are always drowned, and an origami animal figure is placed in their hand, and an orchid placed on their chest. And unfortunately for Ethan Mars, his remaining son Sean may be the killer's next victim. Ethan Mars is by far the best to perform, because he is the one with the most to lose. The question surrounding his character is exactly how far he will go to save his son's life. Every time Ethan must make a decision, the moment of Jason's loss is always looming in the background, and the opening of the game did an excellent job of making that so. We have an extra motivation to try and save Shaw, because we already know what a tragedy it is to lose one son to begin with. The game makers make our wanting Ethan to succeed a very natural reaction, and virtually no matter what he's doing, Ethan is an engaging character to play. As I said earlier, you really achieve nothing by playing Madison Paige, aside from being kidnapped from time to time in the usual Scooby-Doo-like fashion, or enjoying the privilege of making her shake her various group things in your face from time to time. Frankly, I was so put off by this character that I don't even want to spend too much time on her in this review. And if you think I'm being unfair here, then I direct your attention to this. All of the characters in the game have the exact same voice actor and body type, except Madison Paige. The game makers chose to use one person for her voice and facial likeness, and another person to make up her body. And by an amazing coincidence, the woman who provides the model for the character's body also happens to be a professional model. Now, to be fair, the professional model was cast first, but it's clear to see what they had in mind for this character from the beginning. The motivations behind her presence were obvious, critical, and to be honest, I was actually a little offended by it. And that's coming from me. Norman Jayden is the second best character in the game, with a nonchalant attitude, and the only character with a quasi-sci-fi angle. The AR eyeglasses aren't just for show. They give him a set of personal demons that will have to be dealt with as the story unfolds. While we aren't given much backstory as to where the AR eyeglasses come from or how they work, we do know that the wearer can become physically and psychologically dependent on them. How Jayden will deal with this addiction will be up to you to a certain extent, but the element gives the character a unique obstacle to overcome, no matter how you decide to play it. There is one drawback to playing Jayden, however, and that is that some of the time, playing him will feel like a waste of your time. Jayden is an FBI profiler who uses his knowledge of people to try and track down the origami killer. However, you as the player don't do any real investigating or profiling when playing Norman Jayden. You will have the opportunity to enter a virtual file system and look over various pieces of information, but there is no way for the player to pick and choose which information is relevant or what lead to track down next. These sequences simply unlock different scripted parts in the game and allow you to progress further. This makes the statement that you are playing an FBI profiler almost rhetorical, and these time-consuming scenes would have worked just as well as standard cutscenes. Finally, Scott Shelby would have been the second best character in the game had it not been for the way the game ends. Playing him as a character just feels right. You really do feel like a gumshoe brawler roughing up bad guys and lending a touch of father figure support to Laura. Shelby was definitely a standout character, but then you reach the big reveal later in the game, and it all quickly falls apart. It is a hell of a thing trying to review the story for this game, as your decisions will lead you around many different corners, to the point where it can almost be hard to tell if you and a friend were even playing the same game. So what I've decided to do is to analyze the aspects of this...
Put a lot of work into this review. That must be why he hasn't done much in the last couple months.
Regardless of the different variations that can be experienced...
I'd rather he just did more movie reviews.
In looking at the game this way, I came to realize
it's cool,
story
but I don't really care about video games.
The story of Ethan Mars.
And neither does he, which is why this is weird.
These two stories could easily have been taken out of the game, transplanted to a screenplay, and made for a real film. And a pretty damn good one at that. So it's these two particular stories that I have chosen as the focus of this part of the review. The rest of the side stories involving the remainder of the characters will be analyzed in the gameplay section.
What happened?
The origami killer has kidnapped Ethan's son and placed him in a drink that slowly fills with rainwater, giving Ethan until the water reaches the top to save his son's life. This makes the ticking clock out of a true act of nature, which is something that I found to be very interesting. There are 4 tasks Ethan must complete in order to save his son Sean, and each task is tailored to a specific reaction the killer is looking for. Ethan must show courage to save his son by driving the wrong way on a freeway for 5 full minutes. He must